I'm Scott. I grew up in California. I lived there pretty much my whole life, grew up in a Christian family there, and I started playing drums in 4th grade. And I've always had a passion for it, and I've always loved doing it. And I even did drumline when I was in high school, and then all the way starting in kids' church, I would play the drum set along with like music videos that they were playing, and then I got involved in the youth group, and it just kind of evolved from there, my passion for drumming. I've always felt like it's a gift that God's given me and a tool that He's wanted me to use and to glorify Him and to reach people. And I've always felt more connected with Him when I'm drumming and when I'm worshiping. And that's always been my main focus when I'm playing drums, and so that's always what I've wanted to do. In November 2013, I got sick, and I thought I just had the flu at first, and Holly had been gone for 3 days straight that week because of the Dallas ice storm that had been going on. So she wasn't at home, and when I was at home by myself, I just was not eating. I was confused. I had blurry vision, and I didn't know exactly what was going on. I just thought I was sick. And then Holly came home, and she saw me and said, "Scott, I don't know what's going on, but you don't look good and you're really confused and you're not making sense." So the next day she decided to take me to the hospital. We were on our way to the Baylor McKinney Hospital, and I passed out on the way there, and I don't remember anything. And when we got there, they found out after running several tests that I had an infection on my heart. And that infection started, little did we know, with a heart defect that I was born with that we had no idea that I had until now. And so bacteria had built up in this one part of my heart and started eating away at it. And because it was on my heart was pumping the bacteria throughout my body. And so the bacteria went into my brain and started making me have mini strokes. I had several mini strokes while I was at home, and that's why I had blurry vision. I was confused. So they found that out, and so they tried to help me by giving me several antibiotics, and it just kept getting worse. And then my hands started turning black, and they didn't know exactly what was going on. So they looked at my arms, and I had started getting blood clots in my arms because my body was shutting down. I was in liver failure, kidney failure, and heart failure all at the same time. And so they went into my arms and were able to get some of the blood clots out. And because they did that, I got to keep my arms. Otherwise, I would have lost my arms if they wouldn't have done that. And after that surgery, they felt like we need to get him to a heart hospital to get open heart surgery done so we can get this infection out. So they decided that they were going to airlift me to the Baylor Plano Heart Hospital. And right before they put me on the helicopter to airlift me, they told Holly, "We don't know if your husband's going to make it through the helicopter ride. He's very unstable, and there's nothing that we can really do if he coats and his heart stops." So they said, "Say your goodbyes right now, because you might not ever see him again." So my wife, she just came to me, and I don't remember any of this, but she told me she just hugged me, and she laid on my hospital bed with me, and she just cried. But she said that there was a certain peace that she had the whole time, that she knew I was going to be okay. And so I got airlifted to the Baylor Plano Heart Hospital, and so I was able to make it through that, and I was on my way to recovering in the ICU, and I spent about a month in the ICU, and after that, that's when I started my journey of recovery at the Baylor Frisco Rehabilitation Center. I got home February 1st, and at that point I just had black hands from the blood clots that had caused damage. And so I had multiple surgeries scheduled, and the first surgeries were my amputations that I had. And I lost 4 fingers on my left hand, and he tried to save the right, but then the next appointment he said, we're going to have to end up taking the whole thing. There's no good tissue on your hand. After I had my amputation done, I lost my right hand. I just started thinking about how God had been there the whole time, and that he was faithful through everything. And this was not from him. He was going to work this out for my good, and he was going to completely come through. And I mean, I remember even in the hospital when I was just laying there almost dead, a nurse came in and was going to do a procedure, and I said, "Hey, what's your name?" And he said, "Hey, my name's Daniel." And immediately God just put in my heart and in my head, "Daniel in the lion's den." And he said, "Scott, this is your Daniel in the lion's den. You're Daniel. And there are things all around you that want to destroy you and want to take you out right now. But I'm not going to let that happen. I'm going to rescue you from this, and I'm going to lift you out of this cave, and you're going to come through better and stronger, and I'm going to use you and your story." And ever since that point, I had extreme faith, and I didn't really let anything get at me. Even at nights in rehab, when I was kind of starting to feel down a little bit, I would just put on worship music, and worship music has always been my center point where I could come back and just focus on God. And he would really comfort me and just give me peace in my heart and just say, "Scott, I'm here. I haven't left you. I'm still here." So this is my testimony, and this is my story. And God is always loving, he's always caring, and he's always faithful. So no matter what you go through, no matter what comes in your life or what comes in my life, God is always there, and he's always faithful. And even if it doesn't seem like he's there, he is there. And you'll look back and see that God was there by your side, holding your hand the whole way through. And that's exactly what he did for me, and I am still here, and I'm still playing drums, and I always will.